Good morning. This is Yarrow. It's Monday for me here in Vancouver. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. This is the Yarrow podcast. My name is Yarrow. Let's dive in. I've been thinking a lot about AI, not just because I'm building an AI based tool right now, but I'm also thinking about all of our businesses and how AI is impacting us and how you can strategically go about existing and hopefully thriving as a business owner in this environment. So the obvious challenge for someone building an AI is whether what you're creating is something that will just be made available in the large language models. So whatever function or tool is just available probably for free within ChatGPT or Claude, or Gemini. And frankly, most kind of basic functions, whether it's some kind of writing tool or video tool or graphics tool or something that could be done by a human being, chances are these large language models can do it. Some sort of agent can do it. The challenge is, how do you create something that taps into these large language models? Because most of us, if we're building an AI tool on some level, are on the back end using these large language models, because we're not going to build our own large language model. At the same time, have something that does a unique combination of AI resources or presents it in a certain way that can solve a problem for a certain target market. Now, that's not necessarily new to small businesses. Businesses are always looking for ways to combine resources in a unique way and solve a problem for a certain niche target audience. And there's always competition. The difference now is the technology is changing so fast that you don't know what's around the corner, and that could be literally next week. In the past, with businesses I've started, sure, I was concerned about competition. Whether I was building software, launching an agency, some kind of service, even if you're doing e-commerce, there's always this issue of, okay, other people are going to solve the same problem and sell something that's related to what I'm selling. But you never had to think about, well, next week, a completely new way of doing things will eliminate my entire business model. Now, e-commerce is probably the example there where it's less likely to happen, because a physical product at this point in time is not as likely to be replaced or disrupted by AI. Although, as the robots start rolling out, that's going to be a possibility too. So who knows what's going to happen there. But for the time being, if you're in, like I am, I've been in basically agency services, selling some kind of service, or education, content, or software. So I've done something in all those three spaces, and there's always been competition. There's always been alternatives that people can choose from. But you've kind of known what the landscape is like, and it makes it easier to differentiate yourself, find your little slice of the pie and grow a business. Now, that's still the hope with an AI startup, but I want to give you a way of thinking about this, a framework that I've been implementing myself as I go about building an AI tool. It doesn't matter if you're building an AI tool or you're just thinking about your current business, because this applies equally. But I think it's a useful framework for adapting to whatever comes at you, and in fact, leveraging whatever comes at you from AI. So instead of seeing it as an existential crisis that might completely eliminate you or stop you before you even start, look at it as a way to actually benefit from these constant changes that are coming. So the current business I'm running, which I will keep name dropping, you're totally welcome to go try it out right now. It's called Patric AI, Patric.ai. Patric has a core functionality, which is about taking your voice, whatever you're able to speak, could be 5 minutes, could be 10 minutes, and turning that into other sources of content. I'm doing that right now with this audio recording. This audio recording is an episode from my podcast, but it actually will turn into an article on a blog. It will be something I could potentially, if I choose to, share that week on my newsletter. It will also create social media posts that I can share as either promotions for this podcast or just standalone pieces of content that promote my brand, my business, and so on. So it's basically a speech to content marketing machine. Now, I won't go into the history. If you want to hear more about Patric, there's actually a podcast I made with Patric that goes into the background. I'm building in public with that podcast and talking about all the changes. But one thing that has been always on my mind from the very beginning is I have to be very flexible with how we build Patric. I can't get stuck on a core feature or even a core audience, a core problem, I have to look at this as a dynamic company that is going to make use of new AI functions as they become available and see them as things we can actually plug into our business as opposed to things that could eliminate our business. And it actually turns things into a very exciting way of building, because every new release, if some new video function pops out, I can be like, oh, can we plug that into Patric? Can we have voice to video become our next feature? Or maybe there's a really great AI agent. So hey, can we start using an agentic tool as an assistant for creating content as well, and make that basically a Patric bot, so to speak, or a Patric voice assistant. And those things have been on my sort of potential workflow, potential build options in the future. But I wait and see how these things evolve and what the language models release, and then decide what is the thing to build. And obviously, I would like to do that with feedback from paying customers eventually too. That will be a big part of this. But right now, I'm the first paying customer, so I'm building things around what I actually want to see for my own purposes and use it to grow my coaching business. So that's the great thing about this. I'm the guinea pig. I'm trying to get coaching clients, and I'm using Patric as a way to use my voice each day to promote my coaching business. And that's pretty much what I do with these podcasts. If you are interested in me as a coach, you can go to insidegrowth.com and book a call there. So a lot of the content I produce is designed to show that, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. I've built businesses, a couple of seven-figure businesses. I help other entrepreneurs reach seven figures. I'm going to give you advice and basically use Patric to spread that advice across all these channels and hopefully get more coaching clients. So it's a work of a proof. It's a proof for what Patric could potentially do. So, and it's fantastic as a learning experience for me. Like, what feature do I need now? What does Patric not do that I'd like to have it do? A good example of that is I'd like to have some kind of email newsletter integration as very likely the next feature we build, because I want to grow my email list as I release these audios and turn them into other formats of content. So that's very likely the next feature we will work on. So in terms of AI though, the things that Patric do are not special in the sense of AI. You can basically ask Claude or any of the large language models, to take your voice, transcribe it, turn it into an article, turn it into social media, publish it to a podcast. That's maybe a few more steps. Create a full website. Again, a few more steps. So, right now, Patric creates content for you and formats it, makes it instantly easy to use in the kind of formats that we like. It's a website, it's a podcast, it's an article. It's even the way we've crafted the production of the article, the way we prompt the conversion of your voice into that article is something we worked on, and we had to get the writing style right. So you get the benefit of the work we put in to make a great writer from the audio that you produce, plus the website's there. It's just ready to go. Plug it into, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, and Apple, and you've got a podcast. Things that we're trying to reduce the friction, even though everything we do, if you broke them down into component pieces, are things you can do with the large language models. We're packaging them up into a solution, which I'm now then taking to the market and going to present to small business owners as a solution for those who like to speak. So I'm in the process of getting that ready. I want to make sure the basic bugs are fixed, and then I'm going to start marketing it a little more. Right now, I'm just sort of dropping it here and there, like you're hearing me mention it now. But in terms of adapting to the AI environment, I'm looking at every single AI release that's relevant to what we do with Patric as a potential addition, a way to increase value. Now, you have to balance things like token cost, because obviously if you start throwing more things into your AI tool, you start to use up more tokens, and then simply you can't make a profit. So you got to pick and choose which features you develop, and that's why getting user feedback is huge. But I think that's a great framework for any business owner to apply right now. If you're feeling, fearful about AI, instead of seeing it as an existential threat that could eliminate what you do, see how you could integrate it into what you do and actually make it a feature, even a full function. With my agency, and my agency is a classic example of a human-powered service that you could say is certainly getting impacted, encroached on by AI as AI email tools pop up. Even just recently, people were telling me, hey, you can use OpenClaw, which is one of the most recent updates as I record this, the latest AI tool, to essentially run your inbox. You can just, hey, open up your email and answer it for me. And I said, yeah, that's not that different from some of the AI software that's available right now for managing your email. The question, as it always has been, is do you trust an agent to answer your emails without you looking at them? And I don't think any human right now feels comfortable knowing that an AI has actually written a reply, sent that reply to every single email they've received. It's just you need a human in the loop, because no matter how good an AI is, there's a component there that requires some human decision making, maybe even some human contextual understanding in how best to answer that email. So you don't just set and forget. Now, the AI has sped up workflows. It speeds up writing emails. It has some great voice to text functions, much like what Patrick does. You can use other apps like Whisperflow to write an email quickly with your voice. So there's ways that AI can speed up what we do as an agency, and I'm trying to push that. You might listen to one of my previous episodes, how I'm pushing AI into my team and saying, hey guys, check out Whisperflow. Maybe this can make our assistants a little faster and help some people with, content creation for our clients. And hey guys, let's check out this website building tool, Replit. Maybe we should start using that to build some of our websites behind the scenes with our company. So I'm trying to augment our team, trying to speed us up and make us AI first, so that as these things come at us, we look at them as resources we can augment what we do. Now, we're going to lose clients. We're going to potentially have our marketing impacted as certain people choose to use AI instead of choosing to use a human assistant. But more often than not, in our case, and this is a real lesson for agency owners, if you're doing something low end, you're most likely going to be replaced by AI. But if you start to get more complex, more high end, you do more for your clients that requires more decision making, more complexity, more understanding, more human in the loop, it's less likely that you're going to lose all your clients, because they can't just switch on one little AI tool to replace you. Now, the AI tool might be used by your team, but your team is still needed to put all the pieces together. That's very much the bucket we fit in. We're feeling the impact from the marketing side, but I think the clients who use us are actually, in fact, they're expanding with us. The ones who do love us are upgrading. So, there's a space for us to grow and still be a big part of other businesses as an executive assistant service. But I'm very aware that certain agencies won't have that benefit. So you have to think about, what you're selling, how you're selling it, and all of that in the future. Okay, I know I've covered a lot in this audio, some of the framework I'm using about AI and how I'm applying it to my own business, some of the frameworks around being a selling of services agency, and how that impacts you with AI. Lots to think about. I hope you found that useful, and I'd love for you to go check out Patric AI if you're listening to this and you are looking to do more content marketing, patric.ai. You can convert your voice into all kinds of content, just like I'm doing with this episode here. My name is Yarrow, and I'll speak to you again probably tomorrow. Thanks for listening. This is the Yarrow Podcast. Bye-bye.